Welcome to How to Play with me, Peter. Today we are playing Photosynthesis. In Photosynthesis, the aim of the game is to complete the life cycle of a tree and decompose your largest tree to score points. The game is played over 3 rounds, and each round consists of a number of turns where the sun moves round the board. Every time the sun moves around the board, the first player marker also moves to the left. Sunlight is very important in this game, and it's the main way, or the only way, that you take actions. Sunlight is denoted by a yellow circle with a blue border and a number in the middle. You have 2 different areas as a player. You have your player board and you have your active area. Trees and seeds in your active area can be placed on the board for the cost of sunlight. Trees and seeds that are on your player board require a further cost to put into your active area, and that cost is denoted by the sunlight circle next to each item. Each action costs you sunlight, so placing a seed on the board will cost you 1 sunlight, growing a seed into a small tree will cost you 1 sunlight, growing a small tree into a medium tree will cost you 2, and growing a medium tree into a large tree will cost you 3. Decomposing a large tree will also cost you 4 sunlight. Now, each tree has a number of different properties. Small trees count as size 1, medium trees count as size 2, and large trees count as size 3. And this is important for various different reasons. Each tree will cast a shadow of their size. So small trees produce a shadow of 1 space, medium trees produce a shadow of 2 spaces, and large trees produce a shadow of 3 spaces. As the game progresses and more trees are placed on the board, this will affect how much sunlight you get. Another important thing about the size of trees is that that size denotes how far away a seed can be placed from that tree. So from a 1 tree it can be placed 1 square, from a 2 tree, 2 spaces, and so on. At the start of the game, each player will take it in turn to place a small tree on the outer edge of the board until all players have 2 trees on the edge. Once that's happened, the turn will then start. Each turn starts by distributing sunlight. Sunlight travels from the sun horizontally down the board, and each tree that sunlight hits will produce sunlight. So in this case, I will produce 2 sunlight for my 2 small trees. Later on in the game, as you get more and more trees on the board, you will gain more sunlight if you aren't being shadowed by another tree. The way shadowing works is the same as the size of the trees. So a medium tree will cast a shadow of 2, a large tree a shadow of 3, and so on. Any tree that is in shadow of another will not get sunlight unless it is larger than the tree that is shadowing it. So in this case, the 3 tree will still produce 3 sunlight because it is larger than the medium tree in front of it. Play continues until all 3 rounds have been played, and every time you decompose a tree, you score points based on the soil it was grown in. The least fertile soil is on the edge and scores you the least points. The most fertile soil is in the middle of the board and scores you the most points. However, points decrease as you move through the stack. Therefore, decomposing a tree first might be beneficial. Once a stack has run out, if you still decompose a tree in that fertility of soil, you would move to the lower stack and score from there instead. Every time you grow a tree and replace it with a larger size, that tree that you replaced gets put back onto your player board at the bottom. If there is no room, it gets removed from the game and you can't use it again. Another important point to make is that each space can only do 1 action a turn. For example, if this tree dispersed a seed, I could then not grow it into a larger tree. Also, on the turn that the seed is dispersed, you can't immediately grow it into a small tree. Same with decomposition. I can't immediately grow from a medium to a large and then decompose. And I can't then immediately place a seed where I've just decomposed my large tree. Finally, there are 2 advanced rules which, as you progress through the game, you may want to consider. The first is that instead of 3 turns, you play 4 turns, or 4 rounds of the game. The second advanced rule is that you cannot grow or plant a seed if that space is currently shaded by something else. And that is how you play photosynthesis.